From the time you walk in the door, they're taking tally marks. From the day you walk in the door, the time your foot crosses the threshold, it's like, okay, who's going to get up first? You know?
Can you explain what happens at these Christmas parties?
It's like you go to a supermarket and you pick what you want. And it's like, most of these guys, they're married, families at home, and they're shopping. You know, it's they're shopping. Yeah. And whoever's willing to play, get picked. You're not willing to play, you're labeled as, you know, she thinks she's
difficult.
She's difficult.
She's difficult.
Yeah. So this is what pushes women to accept the harassment until they can't anymore. Because it's always a repercussion for no. My case actually aired when I was at Narcotics, and it hit the morning news. So the lawsuit went in that night, and it hit the morning news the next day.
Oof.
And I was in Narcotics, sitting at the desk, looking at the TV, and it was coming across the TV. And my stomach just dropped me. But it was okay because my truth prevailed. Again, they weren't in compliance. The city itself wasn't in compliance.
Simone, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah, and I'm happy to have you here. You came from where? Where'd you travel from?
Georgia.
From Georgia. What part?
Yeah. I'm in McDonough, or more the Ola area, so
Okay.
it's south of Atlanta.
All right. I always feel like when people come out of town, that puts more pressure on me because it's like I have to make sure that this episode is good. I ask good questions because if you travel from out of state, I'm like, you have faith in me. You have faith in
And it's no easy comeback. Can't do it over again. Like,
right.
Wait till the next time I come.
Exactly. Yeah. So we've been talking on social media, and you have a very impactful and what I think is a profound story, which we will definitely get into, especially for the women that are in law enforcement. Yeah. So we'll definitely get into that. You're a believer in God. You prayed before we started interviewing. So I'm going to ask you about that as well.
Definitely.
But before we get into that, where are you from? Where'd you grow up?
Oh, all right. So we're going to go straight into it.
Yeah, straight into it.
I grew up in Brooklyn, Brownsville, on a street called Wilmore Street. And I lived there for quite some time, I think till I was about 4 or 5. And then my parents decided to take me out of Brooklyn because it was just crazy in Brownsville at that time. We had the crack zombies, the parks was crazy, crack vials on the floor. Not that I didn't experience that in Queens, but it was just different in Brooklyn.
Sure.
And my parents took me out of Brooklyn and put me into Queens. And I started living in Queens Village. Shout out to Shadyville.
All right.
So I lived right in Shadyville, and I went to IS 109, PS 135. So my parents, gave me an opportunity to have a better way of living. And back then, it was more considered the suburbs. Now Queens Village has evolved, but it was like the outskirts of Long Island. Yeah. So yeah, that's how I grew up.
Okay. Yeah, I remember when DJ Who Kid was big. He would always talk about Shadyville.
Yeah, the Ville.
Yeah.
Outside of the Ville. So a lot of people from Queens, they from the Ville. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, did you grow up with both of your parents, brothers, sisters?
So I grew up in a 2-parent household. My mom only had me. I had no brothers and sisters at all. So I was the only child. But the house that I grew up in was very family oriented. So I had my grandparents, my aunts, my uncles, my cousins. We all lived under one household. So my cousins were more like my sister, my brother than anything else because I had no sisters or brothers at all. So yeah. And my aunt, she had dated this guy, and actually they were twin brothers, and they were security guards for Bobby Brown, for New Edition back in the days. So as a kid, I had the liberty of going to like concerts and backstage and seeing New Edition perform. Yeah, so that was kind of big during my childhood of just being able to see that, 4 or 5 years old going to concerts with my aunt. So definitely moving to Queens gave me that privilege, that upper hand. Being around my other family took me away from the, I guess you could say, the sadness of Brooklyn, because that was a real sad time back then. Yeah, it was crazy.
How do you feel like Queens, how much of an impact did you growing up in Queens have on your life?
Huge, because I never forgot where I came from. When I started working as a cop, I worked in the 113, which is South Jamaica, Queens.
Right.
So I was already aware of the area, and it gave me a sense of hope, because living in Brooklyn, I kind of felt like, seeing the abandoned buildings and the stuff that was going on, I didn't really have no hope as a kid. Like the only time I remember really being happy was going to the park with my dad. Like I don't remember walking around and being like, yeah, this is where I want to be. But when I got to Queens, I was able to get on my bike, ride the streets. You know, it was more like suburban living.
Right.
So I feel like moving to Queens really gave me that push. Like, okay, you know what, life is worth living. Like there is another side to this.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah. Oh, that's great. And you said that your household was very family oriented.
Mm-hmm.
What's your culture like? What's your ethnicity? Because I feel like from what it is that I know, people from the West Indies, they seem to be a lot more family oriented and willing to pool their money together and
get together.
Where you're from?
So my family, the majority of my maternal side is from the South. My grandfather was down in North Carolina, and my grandmother was from Virginia, and they were just big Southern family. Like family stayed with family back then. You know, money was scarce,
right?
So they would all be in a 2-bedroom home, and my grandmother kind of kept that feeling like it was always better to pull money together for us to be together than be apart. So that's where that came from.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Where'd you go to? Did you go to college or anything?
I did. I went to BMCC after right around 9/11. I went to BMCC. I graduated from there. And then I stopped for a while. I went to John Jay for a few, and just juggling school, home, mom, just it was too much, so I left. But when I retired, I went back and I got my bachelor's degree. And then I went back and got my master's.
Good for you.
And now I'm working on my PhD in philosophy.
Really?
Yeah.
So once you're retired, do they do anything? Like, do these schools do anything for you, being that you were a New York City police officer?
No, all the benefits go.
Really?
Yeah, you get like a little stipend or a little, discount off when you're active. But once you're retired, all of that is, and then trust, once you finish your bachelor's, because your bachelor's paid for by the state if you stay in the state. But once you go graduate, that's all on you. So the master's is on you unless you get into a program that's funded by the state. Like you decide you want to do education, that's funded by the state. Certain programs are funded by the state, social work. But because I chose law enforcement, that wasn't funded. So that was out of pocket.
Got you. Now, like I said, before we interviewed, you prayed.
Yeah.
You're the first person that's done that on the show.
That's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. So where did that influence come from? You doing that?
So when I was young, my family grew up in the Nation of Islam. And that was kind of what I was into at that age. And they're very big on faith. God is your steps. He aligns everything. You have to thank God at all times because nothing is, worthy without him.
That's a fact.
And then when I left the nation, and when I was 18, I stopped going to the mosque just because I wanted to experience life. And kind of lost my faith a little bit. But then when I started losing my parents and seeing death and not knowing how I was going to continue on, that kind of pushed me back into the faith of God, like relying on him, because at times I don't know how I got through it, even with being on the job as a cop, certain situations that I had been in. I don't know how I got out of it. It was like, had to be God that didn't go as bad as it could have.
Wow.
So that really made me rely on him, and I've just made him a staple in my life. Like I pray before I go to bed, I pray in the morning, and I have to,
Yeah. Did you lose both of your parents? And sorry for your losses.
Thank you.
By the way, did you lose them while you were a police officer?
My mom, I did.
Okay.
My mom, I did. My father died after I retired. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So you said when you were younger, you used to go to the mosque.
Mm-hmm.
Are you still a member of the Nation of Islam?
No.
Really?
No. Yeah. It just wasn't for me anymore. Okay. Some of the beliefs I still keep. I still don't eat pork, like certain things.
Yeah.
I just can't erase that. Like I can't sit down and have a plate of bacon. Like it just, I'm not doing that.
It's probably better for your health anyway.
Yeah, it's a lot of salt, so
Sure.
it's fattening, but I can't knock it. Some people, they've lived long lives eating pork. It doesn't mean you're going to die because you eat pork, but it's just something that's been instilled in me since I was a child. Sure. And I can't, but no, I don't go anymore. I do go to some events sometimes that they have, but as far as practicing, no.
Okay. Are you a believer in Jesus Christ, or is it just solely God? Just out of curiosity.
I would say that I believe in God. Muslims say that they say Allah, but Allah is just the Arabic name for God. So I just kind of keep it at God. And my children, I've allowed them to kind of pick and choose what faith they want to go in. They haven't been pushed to go any particular way.
Gotcha.
As a kid, I felt like I was pushed to go a particular way. And that was really hard on me as a kid, you know, especially in New York City high schools, not being able to wear certain things. Like it was rough.
Did you wear the
job? No.
Oh, okay.
But you had to wear clothes that come to your ankle, supposed to keep your head covered, you know, and nothing's supposed to be form-fitting or revealing.
Sure.
You know, there's a lot of rules that come with that.
Right.
And that's why when I turned 18, I just wanted to really just see what the world was like, because living under my mom's roof, she wasn't having that. Like it was a no, you know.
Right.
Yeah. She wouldn't even buy me those kind of clothes.
Gotcha.
You know, at one point I started working a job babysitting, and I would take my money and go buy my own stuff, and she'd find it and throw it in the garbage. You know, she was just that kind of lady. She would go through my drawer and be like, you can't wear this. And I'm talking about guest stuff. Like back then, I paid good money for a little guest skirt.
Right.
Throw it in the trash.
She throw it in the trash.
Yeah.
And do you think that level of strictness, do you feel like that's what kind of pushed you away?
Yeah. And then seeing people that didn't have to live under those strict rules, but I did, was kind of like, okay, well, it's kind of some people, it's here and there. Some people are following, some people are not. And I just got turned off, and I was like, nah, I want to see what life is about at 18. And I just left, and I never looked back. Still love certain things about it. I think it influences a lot of what I do in my steps, you know, but nah, I can't.
I feel you. Okay, I was going to ask you that, but you already answered. So when you were going to college, you said BMCC was your first start. What was your major? What were you going to school for?
So I wanted to do paramedic or nurse because I worked as an EMT when I turned 18 for about 5 years. I did EMS for 5 years.
From 18 into 20.
Yeah, and then I went to the Cadet Corps, and I went back to school, finished up, and was doing the Cadet Corps while I was in school. And then once I finished BMCC and I graduated, they were like, okay, you got to make a decision. Either you're going to go promotional as a cop or you're going to resign. That's the only two choices you have when you finish the Cadet Corps. So I said, well, all right, I'll take the test. But I really wasn't interested in being a cop. I really did not want to be a cop. I was applying and nobody was hitting me back, and I wasn't getting any answers. So I was like, well, dag, I guess, you know, I don't want to resign. I got to keep the income coming. So I'm going to go on and take the job. And that's how I got on the job.
Gotcha. What was it like those 5 years as an EMT?
I saw a lot.
And where did you work?
So I did what we call EMS transport, which is kind of like you transport people. Sometimes you do home calls, but for the most part, you go from nursing homes to hospitals and you transport patients in between there. And so I was up and down. I would say most of my service was in Queens, mostly Queens, Manhattan, but mostly Queens. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. What, anybody that wants to get into EMS or EMT, is there any advice that you would give them?
First, you gotta love it.
Yeah.
Because it's rough. You know, it's hard. It's backbreaking. You see a lot of stuff. You know, definitely blood, gore, that whole thing. I mean, me not even really being on the street, more so doing transport. I still had a lot of cardiac arrest, a lot of blood. You know, that I was exposed to. It's a lot. You go to school, and it's so crazy because the teacher that I had, I'll never forget him. His name was Clyde Seeley. He worked for the fire department, EMS. And when I was in EMT school, 9/11 happened. So he was actually working 9/11 and then coming to the school and teaching us later on during the evening time. And we had preview to everything. Like we would see everything because we were living in 9/11 at the time. And he was a great teacher. I mean, that man was amazing. And he wound up dying from 9/11 cancer. Yeah, my EMT teacher, but his name was Clyde Seeley. But he was amazing. Yeah. So go to school. You got to love what you do because it's not easy. It's the same thing with the police department.
Yeah.
You know, you got to kind of somewhat love it. If not, you're in trouble, you know.
What are some of your biggest takeaways from working
EMS?
EMS.
Be kind to people. You know, you never know what someone's going through. The other thing I would say is take care of your health. Health is important, you know, and medical insurance.
Medical insurance.
Yeah.
Why do you say that?
I feel like the things that I experienced being in the hospital and being an EMT, when you don't have medical insurance, I feel like the level of treatment is different. And I hate to say that, you know what I mean? Like to put that out there, but it's the truth. Like,
Right.
do you have medical insurance? No. All right. You know, you're going to be treated a little different than that next person.
What does that look like? What does the difference in treatment look like?
Maybe I take you to the hospital, you sit in the back room, you know? And I hate to be that person, but I'm
The
being
truth is the truth.
honest.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
People need to know this stuff. Yeah.
Gotta have medical insurance, some Medicaid, something. Like you need to make sure that medical insurance is your priority, because the stops that are going to be put out for you are different than the person that doesn't have medical insurance. Now, people may say, you know what, she's lying. We give everybody the same treatment across the surface. But if you've ever been in the hospital and you've looked, you know what it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know, if that was the case, you wouldn't ask me what my medical insurance is. You would just treat me.
Exactly.
So those are the things that I would say take away. You know, be kind, because you never know what a person is going through. Take care of your health, because you see a lot, especially young people, and have some type of medical insurance. You know, take care of yourself, protect yourself.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I would say.
Now, working in EMS, how did that affect you, your personal life, mentally? You know, when you seeing so many events that are very traumatic.
Put a lot of it to the back of my head. Put a lot of it to the back. And you just learn how to react. You know, one guy, one time we were moving him, and he was fully up talking, and it was crazy because he was a Jewish guy. And I used to pick him up all the time. I can't remember his name, but we would have conversations because I would ask him things like, you know, why do Jewish people do this or why? And he would always be open and honest with me. And one day I picked him up, we put him in the ambulance, and when I got in the back of the ambulance, he was blue. He wasn't breathing anymore, like just coded on us right then and there. And we were doing CPR all the way to the hospital. And we got him back only because we started CPR early. By the time I left the hospital later that day from doing all the paperwork, he was, you know, breathing and up, you know, and everything. But those are kind of some of the things you deal with. And one time, you know, a person's talking, next minute, they're gone, they've coded. And the thing about EMS, you don't really know what's going on inside. You can only treat the surface. You can't treat what's inside. They got to go to a hospital.
Right.
So, yeah.
Have you ever dealt with people that have had near-death experiences?
Yeah.
Like spiritually, and they come back and they tell you about it?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What's one that resonates or may come to your head?
Most of the time I've heard from people, they feel like they levitated. Like they feel like they've left their body and they're looking down at what's happening to them. So pretty much everyone who's ever told me about an outer body death experience, they feel like they're out, they're looking down, and then they see what's going on with them. And then something or some body or some spirit or some force comes to them and lets them know, hey, it's not your time, you know, go back.
Really?
Or I would never know if they take them or not because they wouldn't be able to tell me. But most people say they're told that, you know, it's not their time. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I've been told by many people.
And this is them talking to you. This isn't hearsay from another person.
No, this is them
talking to you directly.
Yeah.
The reason why I ask is because with my spirituality, I get caught on YouTube watching near-death experiences all the time. People saying they went to heaven, people saying they went to hell.
Yeah.
And I've always wanted to ask somebody that was either a doctor, a nurse, or an EMT if they've experienced that.
And what did they say from what you researched, that it's kind of that same thing, that they were told come back, or they levitated and looked over, or?
Well, the crazy thing is I've actually had a family member who I believe experienced the wrong side, the bad side, and try to give another family member a warning. That kind of made me go down a deeper path, especially once YouTube started to become a little bit more popular, and I searched up near-death experiences. There's experiences where people go and they see a being of light who they equate to Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And, you know, they'll show them around. They'll see family members that have passed away and just colors that they've never experienced before, things they've never seen before that they can't come back and describe. And it's not your time yet. You
Yeah.
still have work to do.
Yeah. That's kind of the same thing, somewhat of what you said, them being shown around, meeting family members that they hadn't seen in a long time. Kind of like a sense of euphoria.
Yes.
A
Yes.
euphoria. And most of the people have told me they want to go. Like it
Yeah.
feels so good
Yeah.
and light that they want to go,
That they want to go.
but they're sent back.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But then on the other side, I've heard the testimonies where they're levitating, they're seeing their body, they're looking down, and then they get surrounded by dark entities.
It's hot.
And then they get taken to a pit or they get slammed on the ground. It's just darkness surrounded by heat. And it gets a lot worse from there that I won't really get
That's
into.
scary.
But it's really scary to the point where it's the worst imaginable things that you could think of. The crazy part is that through most of the testimonies, including with what my family members saw, it all aligned.
Mm.
So that's one of the reasons why I'm so firm in my faith, because when I realized that this is a reality, everybody says also that whatever this is, it feels fake.
Yeah.
What's it back in their bodies, it feels fake.
Yeah.
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 I don't know if you've heard that, but
No, but I can imagine.
yeah. Interesting. Now, you said after that you became a cadet. What did that process look like? I don't even know how to begin to apply, and I'm sure there's a lot of people that are interested in becoming a cadet. So
It's kind of the same process as if you were to go to be a cop, you kind of apply. Now, take it, this is 2005, 2006. So, it might have changed since then, but it was pretty much the same deal. You go on, you apply, you put in your information online, they get back to you, you have to do a psych, you have to do a medical, you have to do an interview, you have to do your background check. It was the same type of workup that I did to come on the job. So the most important thing when I was on was that you had to be in school. I don't know if it's the same now. I think it's changed quite a bit because you couldn't be in a 2-year school now. I think now you have to be in a 4-year school, but back when I did it, you could be in a 2-year school.
Okay.
Or a 4-year school, and then they pay for every semester that you take. So the Cadet Corps cuts your school a check for those semesters that you are there. So let's say you receive financial aid for being in school. Well, then that financial aid is whatever you choose to do with it. You can send it back or whatever because the Cadet Corps pays for your tuition every semester.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And the hours are accommodating to school. So you made up your own hours. So I think it was like as long as you worked 30 hours for the month or whatever it was, you could write out your own schedule on what days you wanted to work and what days you didn't want to work. So it really worked because for school back then, I used to, have to go to school. So I would just make my schedule on what days I'd be available to work and what days I wouldn't be available to work.
And you get paid as well,
and you
right?
get paid.
That is a good deal.
The only thing you don't get is health insurance because it's considered part-time, but you get paid. For the days that you come in, you get paid. You get a stipend at the end of the year for like whatever time you may have accumulated on the books. And it worked. Like I got out of school. It worked for me. And it worked for a lot of the people that I know who did 4-year school. They collected that money for 4 years. They did that for 4 years.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
where were you a cadet?
So I initially started at Brooklyn Child Abuse Squad.
Really?
That was rough. Yeah, that was rough.
So do you know Lieutenant Johnson?
Is he tall?
He's tall, light skin.
No, this lieutenant that was running the squad when I was there, he was tall, kind of salt and pepperish, blondish kind of hair.
Okay.
But I was working right over in there in downtown Brooklyn for a little while. I want to say maybe I did about 6 months. And I was like, nah, I need another gig.
Okay. Yeah, because a few interviews ago, I interviewed a lieutenant.
Okay.
For the Brooklyn Child Abuse Squad. And I think he retired in 2012.
Okay.
Yeah.
He probably was there when I was there, depending on when he would come in, because I did, my shifts varied, but I did mostly the evenings, the 4 to 12.
Gotcha.
Because I went to school during the day.
Right.
But when I did the 4 to 12s, it was just basically the on-call emergency detectives because everyone else had went home during the day. So he may or may not have been there. But
Okay.
I had to get I had to go someplace else. I was like, nah, this.
What was it doing?
It's a lot to see. It's a lot to see. I mean, you see the perps, the criminals, or the, alleged perps. You see the kids that come in and then they have to have the special psych detectives that interview them a certain way. And,
Yes.
I had the liberty of sitting in on some interviews with the kids. And, I just was like, this is, as a mother myself, this is not something that I could stay, doing. Yeah.
Unreal.
So I left there and I asked for a transfer and I went to the Transit Bureau headquarters that used to be downtown Brooklyn on J Street. And I worked there until I got promoted.
Okay, so with me doing the math, you did what, about a year and a half, 2 years?
Yeah, about 2 years.
As a cadet?
Yeah.
Okay, and you finished up your schooling. Wow.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, I finished at BMCC, graduated in December. And by January, they were knocking on my door like, hey, we got to pick a side. And
let's go.
Yeah, they're not paying anymore. So
yeah.
After that, I was like, well, I got to do something. But I said, you know what? I'll take the promotional anyway, because my mom was like, have more eggs in the basket than none. And I was like, okay, cool. So I took the promotional exam and applied a few places. And I remember, praying somebody would call me and nothing bit. Nothing was biting. And I was like, all right, well, this is what I got to do.
Did you have a child at that point?
I did. I had my older daughter.
Okay.
And at the time, I believe she was 5 or 6 years old.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't have a lapse in ink. I got to do this. I have to take it. There's nothing else on the table. So that's how I wound up becoming a cop. It wasn't like those people who were like, I wanted to be a cop my whole life. Like, nah,
same here. Same here.
That wasn't my path, but it must have been my path because I got pushed in that path, but it wasn't voluntary.
Right, right.
Yeah.
How were you able to do EMS, be a cadet, go to school, all while having a daughter?
That's why I said God had to have got me through those times because I don't know how I juggled. Of course, I had my mom and family support that helped me.
Yeah.
But my mom, a lot of her life was sick. So, she wasn't someone that I really wanted to put a lot on.
Yeah.
And a lot of people pitched in and helped me. I had good friends, friends from my mother who pitched in and would be like, okay, don't worry, you stuck. I'll pick your daughter up and bring her home. Like a lot of people pushed in and helped me because I was a single mom. And I was like, I got to do something. I have to do something that's going to secure my future. And I just did it. And I just happened to just stay in that field, in that realm of just staying as a city worker, just doing it. I just stayed in it. And I had some of my best times as a cadet. Like I had a good time in the cadet corps. Then it got real when I became a cop. But in the cadet corps, I met a lot of good people there. A lot of people now who on the job who are captains and inspectors that I came up with in the cadet corps. Yeah.
What's the best part about being a cadet?
The best part is the flexibility and being able to see what the job is like before you get on the job, if that's your path. Because there's a lot of people who I met who wanted to be cops and then became cadets and was like, nah, this is not for me. So you do get a lot of experience. I have to say that because you're working literally in a precinct, in a command and seeing some of the work. And if you work with a cop hand in hand together, like if someone takes you under the wing, you do get to experience a lot. Like the cop that I worked with, she was in control of summonses. So she did all tab summonses. So any summonses that were written underground, well, we call transit underground.
Sure.
She would put those summonses in the system, and I learned a lot of systems. So I was kind of savvy coming out of there because I was able to put summonses in the system and kind of knew a lot about the different systems that NYPD used at the time. So it was definitely helpful.
Okay. I think that, one thing I did want to ask, do you have to live in New York City to be a cadet?
That's a good question. I don't remember. I don't remember, but I want to say everybody that I associated with was in New York.
They were in New York.
Yeah, they lived in the city. Yeah.
Okay. Now you transition into being a police officer.
Yeah.
Did you have to go? So when you became a cadet, everything that you went through to become a cadet, does that clear you so that if you do want to take the promotional exam, you don't have to do all the other
You start
stuff?
from scratch all over again.
No, you don't. You
No.
can't be serious.
Yeah, you got to go through everything all over again. Because the NYPD's thinking is, what if something happened, in the meantime? So you start everything over again. So you have to start a mini investigation. You have to do a mini medical. You got to do the psych again. You've got, because the psych, I think it's a time frame where it's old. It's considered old. So you have to do it over again. Like you have to do everything all over again. Yeah. In that short time frame, though, because I graduated in December and came on in January of 07. And during that short time frame, I had to get all of those things done. The JST, you have to take everything.
You got to do
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I had no
The
idea.
only thing that's promotional that really is beneficial is that you have a earlier list number or something before everyone else. So promotional kind of gives you that one up on everybody. But as far as the process to get in, it's the same. You have to go through it over again.
Okay, so do you get first choice on where you might want to go?
No, that didn't matter.
That didn't matter?
Mhm.
Being a cadet didn't matter?
No.
That's trash.
Yeah. I put in for transit and my whole, what was it called? The wish list, cheat
Yeah,
sheet, whatever.
the dream sheet.
Yeah, man. I put
Yeah.
in for transit and all the way down and they gave me patrol. Why
did you want transit though?
My instructor, Officer Jones, I'm gonna say his name because he's an amazing guy. He was from transit. So when we used to be in the academy, he was always preaching transit. Transit is that's the thing. That's the unknown place. People don't get messed with, find somewhere to hide out. And I was like, yeah, go transit. So I think most of us in my class put transit. We all wanted transit. And when we got our assignments, we were depressed. Like some people got housing and, back then nobody wanted housing, So we were some depressed cookies because we wanted transit. Our instructor was from transit and we wanted transit. And a lot of us got patrol. Very few of us got transit. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, we were thinking about the overtime, the money. He told us like this is different. Being down there, yeah, you have your issues, but up top is way different. And
Right.
we wanted transit, and
Got you.
I got patrol.
Funny. Yeah, I remember in the academy they had somebody from patrol come in. They had somebody from transit
And
then they had
somebody from housing.
And they made each one sound great.
Yeah, and it was.
But for me, I was like, I want to do patrol because I like being outdoors.
Yeah.
And it wound up working out well for me.
Yeah. Well, everybody, the guys that got housing, when I wound up speaking to them later on, they said they liked it. So, I mean, I guess we all, because we didn't know much about it, we already had a negative idea about it. But everyone that I spoke to that went to an assignment that they didn't want wound up enjoying the assignment.
Right.
I think for the most part, patrol puts the most abuse on your body, like just physically. I think.
You think so?
Yeah, I think patrol puts the most on your body, like knowing the streets and seeing what you're seeing. I think patrol is harder.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean transit, you have your scales and you have the stuff that you deal with down there, but I just feel like patrol is just rough, and housing is rough too. But I mean, when the call comes through, who's responding? Patrol. Even if it's in housing, we'll say notify housing, but most of the time where I was from, where the precinct I worked at, when we notified housing, they be like, housing is not available.
Really? That was a thing that they said when I was a rookie, when I first came on, but they got much better at it.
Yeah, but I was on there, like, housing not available. And I mean, in the 113, it's quite there's Baisley houses, and then there's 40, which is huge. So we weren't mad. It just was what it was. You know what I mean? 40 projects was a big deal. So a lot of times they'd be in 40. And, patrol got to go handle the job.
Got you. What was the police academy like for you?
That was hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was hard because of, one, I wasn't physically a physical person. I wasn't a runner. Two, the strictness of it was different from me. I was a girl who said and did whatever was on her mind. And I had to really pull that back, being there.
Yep.
And that was a shock to me. Even the first day, I remember, I had earrings on and I thought I was somebody and I wasn't nobody because they shut me down. Like, take those earrings out, look straight ahead. What are you looking at? And I was like, what did I sign up for?
Do you remember Sergeant Borgia?
Yes.
That guy was no joke.
Yo.
You remember him at Brooklyn College?
Yes.
Yeah.
He screamed the place down. And I remember sitting there in shock. And back then, you know, I think we had cell phones, but they weren't as savvy as they are now.
Yeah, it's a
and
flip phone.
and I remember texting my mom, like, oh my God, what did I do? And she's like, girl.
That dude had the auditorium shook.
Screaming.
Shook. He didn't even have to scream. When I was there, he didn't scream.
Oh, he didn't.
I remember I didn't know the rank structure, but I knew that if somebody was wearing a white shirt, they were probably more important than somebody that was wearing, you know, a regular blue shirt with the chevrons. And I remember that when Sergeant Borgia would come into the auditorium and people were talking, it would just, we could hear a pin drop.
Yeah.
Once he would leave, there would be a lieutenant that would come in that was the head of recruit discipline, I guess.
You talking about was it the big buff guy?
I think
he might have been the 4 to 12 lieutenant.
I'm not sure.
Okay.
No, he was a Caucasian guy. I think he had like dirty blonde hair.
Okay, no,
very fit.
It's not the same guy.
Yeah, he was fit, but he would come in and he would try to do this like RoboCop thing, and people would just keep talking. They didn't respect him. And then Sergeant Borgia would come back, quiet. Yeah. And I was like, once I realized, okay, you have a sergeant, then you have a lieutenant, and they respected the sergeant more, I was like, that's pretty powerful. Yeah. And he had a way with his words. I remember one of the things I remember most, and no disrespect to the females, but he was like, all you females that want to come in here, you want to wear the Ronald McDonald makeup, he was like, no, that's not going to happen. You're not Ronald McDonald.
Yeah. And he had a way of looking at people, too. I mean, he would just look at you and you'd be like, I don't want to be the one to get embarrassed.
He just had a look to him.
Yeah.
He just had a look to him. I'll never forget that guy.
The police academy was definitely a shock for me because I was like, wow, I really did it now, you know? And I remember the next day after we were sworn in, ponytail, hair slicked back, no makeup, no nails. Like we were all like,
you were on it.
Yeah, we were all stripped down.
It was different back then.
Yeah, all black suit, white shirt.
Right, right. Being out there in that suit was no joke. Yeah, that was crazy.
Well, you came on in July.
That's right.
Yeah, I came on in the winter, which was not easy either. Being on the muster deck, you know, in the middle of January was crazy. And we had, at the time, I did the 4 to 12 in the academy, and we had an Asian platoon commander. I can't remember his name, but he would stand out on the muster deck, and there'd be people sneezing and coughing, and he'd be like, if you're sick, just go home. Go sick. Don't stand here and cough and sneeze, because you will get down and you will give me 50. I mean, people just sneezing and coughing in January, you know? And we were just standing there shivering, you know, out of tension. And I was like, yeah, I really did it this time. Like...
Yeah, and like I mentioned to you earlier, today is actually, at the date of this recording, is actually, would have been my 20th anniversary.
Awesome.
Yeah. Awesome. I mean, I get my pension soon. I get a little something.
Listen, and then you're still there in spirit. You know, you can't discredit what you've already done. I mean, that's not easy. That's not for everybody. Right. It's for everybody. Everybody do it.
Yeah.
So you got to pat yourself on the back. Making it out is amazing.
I appreciate that. Yeah. I do appreciate that.
It's true.
So you got through the academy. You said you struggled with the physicality of it. Because you weren't a runner.
It was the run for me.
It was the run.
Yeah, the JST was the JST was a piece of cakewalk to me. I actually put in the time going to the academy on Saturdays to learn how to scale the wall. Okay. So I would go to the academy Monday through Friday, 4 to 12. And then on Saturdays, I would go at the academy at 9 a.m. just so I could get into the gym and just get a feel for how I needed to touch the equipment. Like, how did I need to handle it? Okay. Because the wall for a lot of women and even some guys was a struggle. You know, you'd walk up to the wall and there'd be bloodstains on the wall from people, cutting themselves up. So I would go and they would tell me, try this way, try that way. And once I got my way of doing it, I would take the wall like a spider. I'd just run up to it, dig my foot in it, grab the top and jump over. So the JST, I passed that the second time, but the run that was hard for me, keeping the pace like that. And like I said, I wasn't a runner. So, yeah.
Okay. But you got through.
Obviously. I did it. I finished. I finished the last, you get 3 chances, and I finished on the 3rd chance the day before Gun and Shield Day.
Really?
We had to run the track, and it was maybe 8 of us out there. And out of the 8 of us, 3 of us passed, and the other had to resign.
make it.
Yeah, they had to resign.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was the last day before Gun and Shield Day. I made it. Yeah.
Man, what an accomplishment. What an accomplishment.
Yeah.
All right. So from the academy, where did you wind up working?
So from the academy, like I told you, I put in for transit, and that's not what I got.
Yeah.
I wound up getting the 113 precinct. And I had put on my sheet, I know I didn't put Queen South. Don't think I put Queen South at all. I think I might have put some Brooklyn precincts. And I got the 113. I'm like, well, how did they pitch me way over here? You know, and I at the time I was living in Brooklyn. So I'm like, well, how did I get here? You know, so yeah, I got pitched to the 113. And I remember walking around and asking people, you know, what you get? Because everybody shares what they got. And then there was really nobody saying that they were going to the 113, which made sense because out of the whole police academy, I want to say there was maybe between 8 or 10 of us that went to the 113.
Really? And that was an impact precinct, right?
It wasn't.
The 113?
103.
The
103 was an impact precinct.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of cops got sent to the 103 because it was the impact precinct.
Yeah.
But the 113 wasn't an impact precinct. So during my talking to people, I found out that it was actually considered a hook house, like the 105.
I was going to say, isn't that okay.
Yeah, it's like the 105. It was considered a hook house. So they were like, if you got landed in the 113, that's great because a lot of people have to put in transfers to get to the 113.
Heck yeah.
And it's not an impact precinct, which means that's your command. You're assigned there. You're not going to be like the ones from the 103 that have to be transferred after impact.
Right.
Like, that's your command.
Yep.
So I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll, see how it goes. And yeah, that's how I landed there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I always thought that, I always get the two mixed up. The
103 and the 113. A lot of people do.
Yeah.
A lot of people do. A lot of people will send me stuff and they'll be like, ain't this your precinct? And I'm like, nah, that's the 103 because we border right there. It's a real fine line.
The South Side.
Yeah, it's a fine line between the 103 and the 113. It's like streets, literally a street and an address can make a difference on whose precinct it is.
So is the 113 a mix of Ozone Park and South Side?
No, so the 113 is Jamaica, St. Albans, Adelaide Park, and that's kind of pretty much about it. The 103 is more so Hillside, Queens North in that area, and they cover the South Side from Jamaica Avenue in the shopping district, like that area, Sufton Boulevard, over there.
Okay, so the 113th is over by that restaurant, The Door?
Yes, down the block.
Okay, there we go.
So Baisley, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I'm putting it up by Rochdale.
Yes.
Got you.
Yes,
that is a hook house.
Yes. I found that out.
Yeah.
Not knowing not knowing the job then.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, where they had me going. But like I said, during my talkings to people, they're like, that's a hook house. Like there's people that put in to go to that command. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I'll see what it's about.
So do you think you being a cadet, somebody looked out for you and said,
No?
No?
I don't think so. I think I just happened to land there out of the group. I don't know. Could be possible, but no one's ever come to me and said, well, hey, we put you here,
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Now, what you did patrol there?
So I did my 6 months on foot, which was rough.
So you were still on foot, even though it wasn't an impact precinct? Okay.
Yeah, we did FTO.
Got you.
Yeah, we did FTO, field trained officer. And we did 6:30 to 4 a.m. That was our shift, and we were on foot.
6:30 to 4 a.m.
Mm-hmm. We had impact hours. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So was it 6:30 to? That's a little longer than.
It's about 6:30 to I think. Well, okay. So if we had to be present for duty at 6:30, we might not have went out till 7.
Got you.
But we were definitely out there till almost 4 a.m.
Jeez.
Yeah, standing on the block till 4 a.m.
Oh man, yeah, we did 1800s by Old Suit 35.
Okay. So yeah, we did. No, we were out till 4. So whatever that time would have been, we were out till almost 4 a.m.
Okay.
Yeah. So we did that for 6 months, and then once we completed the field training, then they split us up and put us into different squads and stuff like that. Yeah. Okay. So, but That was an eye opener. Standing on Guy Brewer was different.
Yeah, for sure.
At 4 a.m. You know, you look at that precinct and you'll be like, well, you know, this is not an impact precinct. Can't be that much going on. No, it was popping.
Yeah, that's where 50 Cent is from.
Yeah,
he's from over there. Yeah,
summertime, it's popping. So we definitely got experience being on foot. I mean, it was busy. We never had a low day on foot. And it'd be sometimes where there'll be jobs coming over and we're on foot and we're walking to the jobs, you know, because it's just not enough manpower to get where they need them at the time.
Was it very numbers driven in that area as well? Like you had to bring in C-substances every night?
Well, yeah, we'd have, you know, those checkpoints. We'd have to pull cars over on foot. You'd have that one van, and yeah, we had numbers.
Gotcha. Now, what was it like being a police officer as a female?
That's deep.
Yeah.
And
you left the job as a police officer, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a lot of struggle because you have a point to prove. You know, especially if you don't have a hook, you're not eating from a silver spoon, you kind of out there, you know, getting it where you got to get it. You don't have someone who has your back, you know, that you can call and say, hey, I need to get transferred out of here. You know, so you have to prove yourself. Right. You know, you have to prove yourself. And that was rough. That was rough, you know, establishing yourself. And then you have your group of females who are like dating whoever they could date to get off the streets. And if you're not that girl, right, you gotta step it up. Yeah, you gotta step it up.
Step it up in what way?
Step it up meaning show that you like to work. Yeah. Show you can work. You know, you're getting out there. You're on patrol. You're answering these jobs. You're out there in the grit with the guys, you know. And I came on the job with no hook. I didn't have a hook or a crane. I knew people on the job, but I didn't have any hooks or any cranes. Nobody. And a lot of the females that came on the job knew someone. They had someone. I had nobody. At the time, my mother was a 911 operator, but you know, that didn't really stand for nothing.
They don't care about
so that. So I came on and it was boxing gloves.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you seeing that dynamic behind the scenes with women police officers having to date or dating somebody in order to get the upper hand, or, you know, being in bed with somebody as a result of, you know, trying to get favoritism, how much harder did that make your job? And do you feel that men on the job, bosses, try to use their ranks or anything like that to their advantages?
You really want to cover that?
100%.
From the time you walk in the door, they're taking tally marks. From the day you walk in the door, the time your foot crosses the threshold, it's like, okay, who's going to get up first?
And how do you know this?
I know this because I lived it. I know it because I lived it myself and I saw it.
But what it is that I'm saying is, how do you know that? Like most guys, they'll try to keep it behind the scenes, right? Like they'll talk about it in the locker room.
Too. I mean, it's out front. It's out front. Okay, so when I first came on the job, of course, I had to learn things, right? I learned the behavior of what was going on the job.
The culture.
Right. After I became comfortable on the job, it was to a point where, you know, they'd say it out loud. I mean, it was nothing, you know, like it. You seen the new cop that came in? Yeah, I saw. I mean, you'd hear the conversations. It wasn't a secret.
Yeah. What did that conversation, or what would those conversations sound like?
You seen the new cop that came on? Yeah, I saw her. She married? Yeah, but I don't care. You know, I don't care. What's she doing? What's she assigned to? Oh, she's doing this or that. I mean, they're having a whole chit-chat conversation about this particular cop. Yeah. So it's the minute you step your foot in the door, they're already taking tally marks on who's going to get what. Is she worth getting? You know, is she attractive? Is she this? What she look like outside of uniform? And then forget it. Don't go to a Christmas party.
Did you see my Christmas party post?
I didn't, but I lived it. I didn't.
Oh, you got to see it.
But I lived it.
That was one of my most viral posts.
Christmas party.
Yeah, the Christmas
Don't
parties.
go to the Christmas party.
Mm.
You know?
Can you explain what happens at these Christmas parties?
A lot of
Keep it real. Keep it real. Keep it real. Because I kept it real on mine. Keep it real. Ain't nobody coming for you. You retired now.
This is scandalous. Christmas parties are scandalous. Now, given this, my precinct, our Christmas parties, well, the one or two that I went to, because I didn't go to a lot of Christmas parties. I think I went to one or two. But we never really had anything going on at our Christmas parties. I mean, it was genuinely just fun. Like we would just have fun with the different shifts that we didn't get to see. So the 4 to 12 thing with the day tour. I never saw anything there. I saw most of the scandalism from other precincts parties that I may have went to, or from other association parties.
Fraternal organizations. Yeah. We won't say any names.
Yeah,
but we already know which ones.
Yeah. It's a few ones that gets crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It is usually the executives, quote unquote.
Oh, yeah.
That try to solicit.
Oh, yeah.
It's them. Yeah.
It's bad. Yeah. I mean, I never experienced anything like that before. Like,
really?
I mean, it's like you go to a supermarket and you pick what you want. And it's like, most of these guys, they're married, families at home, and they're shopping. You know, they're shopping. Yeah.
So it's like one of those machines when you go to the supermarket or you go to like Dave and Buster's and you have the claw that comes down.
And they pick. And whoever's willing to play, get picked. You're not willing to play, you're labeled as, you know, she thinks she's
difficult.
She's difficult.
She's difficult.
Yeah. Yeah, she's difficult. She's too hard to get. I don't want to waste my time with that. You know, I move on. And that's the stigma that sticks with you. You know, the department is based on a lot of stigma. You know, you make one mistake, that stigma sticks to you. You say one thing, and it's bad.
Yeah.
And you let a chief label you, you're done for the rest of your career.
That's right.
So you got to play nice at these parties, especially if you're a person showing up and you don't know what these parties consist of. Like when I showed up, I knew what it was about, but I didn't know what it was about. You know what I mean? Yeah. I thought I'd just be working the party and, you know, signing who came in and what. But as I sat down and I started to see what was going on here, I'm like, oh, this is different. This is different. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some people that are really there for the organization.
For sure. Yeah.
You know, that really believe in the organization. But I'm going to be really fair with you. A lot of people that I did those parties with got sent to A1 commands and got shields.
Yeah.
I just wasn't willing to play.
Got you.
That just wasn't my thing. Good. You know, I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't sell my soul.
So you have the grooming on one side.
Yeah.
When you're in the command. What does that grooming look like? I know, but I would like to hear from like your perspective and the way that it made you feel. Or there's a lot of females that are going to be listening to this that are afraid to speak up.
Yeah.
Because
it's a lot of fear. It's a lot of fear.
It's a lot of fear.
It's a lot of fear in the police department when it comes to the women. The fear is atrocious.
Right.
It's atrocious. So for me, like I told you, I had a way about myself when I came in. I had a facade about me that was very bitch-like. So I didn't get a lot of the
advances
that normal people would get because I carried myself a certain way.
Right.
That carrying myself a certain way, which is what caused a lot of issues in my career later on. But I mean, I grew up, like I said, in the Nation of Islam, which made my confidence sky high. You know, the women treated there like they're gold. So I already came in with that. I had already been a city worker. I had already seen a lot on the job. I already knew the structure of the NYPD. I wasn't new to the city, to being a city worker. I wasn't new to that realm.
Right.
So there was nothing that you could do for me. You can't really show me the books or school me because I kind of knew. So I came in with this sense of presence. And then just throwing this in from when I was a kid, and I told you my aunt used to date a guy who did security for New Edition.
Yeah.
When I was a kid and I would go backstage or I would go to the hotel and meet New Edition, this is really crazy, but I would be afraid because back then New Edition was really young and they used to like fist fight. They used to play fight. They used to like kind of play fight a little. And I'd get scared because I was a little girl, 2, 3 years old, and I'd start crying because I would think they're really fighting, but they were just force playing. Yeah. So then Bobby Brown at the time, he would always see me and he would say, "What's the matter? Why are you crying?" And he would say, "Can I get you something from the vending machine?" And I would always ask for Skittles. And so whenever he saw me, he always gave me a bag of Skittles. Ever Bobby Brown ever see this, tell him he'll remember me because I'm the little girl he used to give Skittles all the time. But he used to always tell me, "You're beautiful, you're confident, don't cry, nothing's going on, you're strong. Here's the Skittles, I got them." And I kind of went with that throughout my whole life, just everybody building on my confidence.
Wow.
So when
somebody like Bobby Brown just saying something small like that, give you Skittles.
Yeah. Just encourage me to know that I was better than just the mediocre. And every time I saw him, he had my Skittles and he would always say, "Don't cry, it's okay. Don't cry. It's all right. You got the confidence. Here's the Skittles."
That's beautiful.
And in addition to growing up in the nation, if you know anything about Minister Farrakhan in the nation, they're very strong-minded, very, proper. And, so I had that behind me. So when I walked into the threshold of 113, wasn't nothing they was going to be able to say or do to me that I couldn't, counteract. Right. So they didn't give me a lot of that. Is that going to be her? What is she doing? Who's she with? It wasn't a lot of that for me because I held a certain confidence.
Right.
So quickly, I became a problem.
That's right.
And the headache.
Yeah.
And she's not worth it.
Do you think in addition to the facade, well, not facade, but who you were, do you feel like being an African-American female added to that?
Yes. Because we're looked at as angry. We say whatever we want to say. We don't know our place.
Right.
Women are to be seen and not heard. And that's a very big culture in the NYPD.
Yeah.
Still to this day.
Right.
They don't respect women. They do not respect women. They feel as though women don't belong on the job. There's still a lot of male chauvinists that feel like women do not deserve to be cops.
100%. One of my most viral posts, if not the most viral post at this point, is a guest that I had, and he talked about female police officers and how he would rather work with female. What's up, Ellie? He would rather work with female cops than male cops. And I posted that. It went crazy. But the sad part, a lot of females, they were like, "Thank you so much. Really appreciated that." But then the negativity that came about, it was insane.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
It's crazy that here we are in 2026 and that mindset is still there.
Yeah.
And a woman who does belong, because don't get me wrong, there are some women who are ditzy and they're just on the job because they have the hook or whatever.
Yeah.
Cool.
Men cops too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But when you prove who you are and what you can do, that you actually are smart and you are worth more than just your body, then you get that little hash mark that says, all right, she's good. She could do it.
Right.
But other than that, we're all put in the same pool. We do not deserve to be cops. This should be a job for men.
Right.
And then you have some male cops who will treat you that way. I'm not searching her perp. Let her do it. I'm not doing this. Let her do it. I'm not checking her armpit. Let her do it. Because they really feel that women should not be on the job.
Yeah. Or it's like jealousy because they may feel like, do you feel like some of these bosses that are sleeping with another female officer or something like that, do you feel like they give them a pass?
Oh, yeah.
So maybe some of the male cops are like, listen, I see them get away with this. So do you think that could be a part of it as well?
I think that could be a part of it as well. But I feel like, the cops know who are the ones that are getting the easy ride. They know. And they know the ones that are not. And, it's not a lot in the precinct that's getting an easy ride or in a detail that's getting an easy ride, but there are a few of them and they know who they are. I just feel like it's just a very male chauvinistic
100%.
atmosphere. And that culture has not been changed. No one has tried to change that culture. No one has tried to change how male cops feel about women cops. No one's tried to change it. Kind of gets brushed under the rug.
What do you think needs to be done in order for it to change?
I think it has to be some fairness, respecting women's rights, understanding that we are different because we are. We're never going to be as strong as a man. We're never going to do the things that men do. But there has to be a level of respect promoted, and I don't feel like the job does that well enough. Like, you have to make them respect us. You have to respect us first by giving us the rights that we deserve, you know? So that, you know, ties into kind of what I went through towards the end of my career, was giving me the rights that I deserve, because that's the only way you're going to get some type of equality. If you continue to treat us like we're gum under the shoe, then, you know, the cops coming on and the bosses that are getting promoted, and as the time goes on, you know,
It's going to stay the same.
It's going to stay the
It'll
same.
get worse.
Yeah.
So I kind of touched on it before, but I wanted to get back to it, the grooming process when it comes down to these bosses that may groom rookies. You know, what examples or what things have you seen?
I've seen it starts with the communication. Then it starts with the telling you what they can do for you. You know, I could do this for you. I could do that for you. And then you start to realize or feel that you are never going to be able to leave. You're never going to be able to go anywhere because your neck is being stepped on with the precinct and, again, some male-driven job. And you start falling into the grooming. You know, you start doing it because you want to go somewhere. You want to do something. You don't want to be on patrol your whole life. And if you let it go as far as you can, I've seen it where female cops, like I said, have become detectives over their hooks in the grooming. I've seen it where women have been moved out of assignments into other assignments. I've seen it where there was one supervisor, he was paying the woman's rent and paying a mortgage and a car note and everything.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on how far you want to go.
Wow.
Yeah, how far you want to go.
How about the bosses that straight out of Impact, or straight out of the academy? Oh, she's my driver.
Yeah, you get the driver scam.
Yeah.
But, you know, most women want more. I'm your driver. What are you really going to do for me? I'm just going to drive you and we're going to hang out, and then what? The buck stops there. You know, most women who are looking to advance in that way, who don't want to do patrol or don't want to be stuck in that command, are going to look for that hook, right? I need the hook. I need the crane. Sergeant's op is not going to get me anywhere. That might get me, you know, off patrol a little bit in a little inside assignment, but, you know, I'm not going anywhere. So most that want to go somewhere, they need that hook. You need that crane. Yeah.
Do you feel like there's women that come in and that's their strategy off the rip?
Yeah. I feel there's some that come in and they don't have no intentions on working, and usually can pick those out too.
What are the signs?
You don't want to work. You don't want to go out there. You want to hang around, get the boss to, you know, keep you inside, keep you indoors. You know, you get that phone call, we got a female the precinct that needs to be tossed. Well, you got so-and-so in the precinct and she's a female. Yeah, but she's on meal. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, boy.
You know the games.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know the games, you know, and then you're stuck because you're like, well, should I just, you know, do what I do? And I'd be the one to go back and say something. And you know, they never like that. But, you know, yeah, that's how it starts.
What bothers me is there's, you know, every now and then you see an article that comes out in the New York Post about an officer, a female officer that was harassed or mistreated or something like that. And I feel like for the most part, the dynamic is, oh, she's lying.
She wanted a payday.
She wanted a payday. She didn't want to.
She didn't want to work.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. The harassment is real. The harassment is real. It's just a matter of what you can take and what you're willing to speak up for. Can you stop the harassment? Yeah, to a certain extent. When you stop the harassment, now you're on foot posts. You see what I'm saying? It's just a bad lead up of events. You know, you speak up for yourself. Okay, no problem. Next thing you know, you lost all your RDOs to overtime. So this is what pushes women to accept the harassment until they can't anymore. Because it's always a repercussion for no.
Wow.
It's always a repercussion for saying no. And that's what has to stop.
What advice would you give to women that are dealing with the harassment?
Depends on how far you've let it go. Sometimes things are too far for you to pull back. If it's too far for you to pull it back, my suggestion would be Find you a lawyer. So I'm gonna be very honest with you. A lot of things that are talked about within the department stay in the department, and the retaliation is real.
100%.
So you think that you're calling IAB to make a complaint? Guess what? The whole precinct knows about the complaint, and they have told everyone that you made the complaint, and someone who works there has given the heads up. It's not staying where you think. And to be honest, that's another thing. I mean, I know they're trying to clean up the corruption with the different, units within the NYPD,
Right.
but I mean, I personally found no solace in any of those units that I call.
Something that I work on is helping members of law enforcement that struggle with lust, lust addiction, porn addiction, things like that. From a female perspective, I have my opinions, but how much do you think that runs rampant in the department or with police officers?
I think for the males, it's a big deal. It's an issue that needs to be dealt with, and I think a lot of the harassment comes from the lust. And it's hard because you're there 9 hours a day, sometimes 5 days a week, and you have nothing to do but to keep your mind on the women, the this, the that, the negative things is what I'm saying.
Sure.
So a lot of the harassment starts with the mental and the I'm bigger, I'm better, I can do it. Like, I'm the boss. They have to listen to what I say. And that kind of and it's sickening. It's sickening the amount of mental, sexual things that are going on in these cops' heads at work.
Right.
And some will say, that's not everybody. I don't do that. And I don't get involved in that. And that's not true. But when you peel back the layers, it's true. Like, why do we have cops drilling holes in locker rooms to look at the women get dressed?
I called that out. I actually called that out. And somebody was like, oh, well, you don't know the circumstances. But guess what? I kind of do because I know I know the victim. I know the victim.
The circumstances can never explain why you did that.
Right.
There's no clear explanation as to why you did that.
Right.
And I'll be truthful with you. Yes, the men have a lust issue, but the women have an issue too as well.
Can you speak on that? Not from you, like obviously not it happening with you,
right,
but from that other side. You know,
Yeah.
I'm speaking as a male. I don't know what it's like from.
Yeah, I mean, don't get it twisted. There's men who's getting sexually harassed on the job by women too. It happens. It's just, it's not as understandable because we don't understand it when it happens to a man, right? We understand it when it happens to a woman.
Right.
So that guy, he swallows it, puts his pride together and gets it together. But, I've seen with my own two eyes, male cops groped by women.
And it's swept under the rug because it's not
I'm a man.
Yeah, it's a man.
He
likes it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he don't want his pride to be messed up, amongst the guys.
Right.
And then think about it also too. There's an issue with men amongst men. How many times have you been getting ready to go out on patrol and you see a guy grab another guy's genital area or smack a guy in the butt? I mean, let's look at it. Like, let's really peel it back and see.
It's true.
Who said that that's okay?
Yeah.
And the minute that a man says he doesn't want that, you calling him all kinds of names. He's a sucker. You're labeling him.
It's just a joke.
And why is that a joke? I don't want you grabbing my genital area. I can't begin to count on one hand how many times I've seen men touch men's genital areas on the job. Yeah. And that's the culture. Something's wrong with that.
Right. Right. You are so right. And these are the things that are not talked about.
No.
Nobody wants to talk about
it. It's taboo.
It's taboo. It's taboo. And you're going against the culture. We're sharing the secrets. We're letting people in. This isn't a secret society.
Yeah, but it is. It's the blue line. You crossing the blue line. I'm crossing the blue line right now. They'll say, oh, what's she know? And I know personally of cops that were offended by that behavior. Male cops that were offended by male cops touching male cops inappropriately. And that person was labeled a BICTH. He's a crybaby. Yeah. He doesn't know how to have fun. Yeah. But all he's asking you to do is stop touching him inappropriately.
That's
Why
crazy.
is that okay? Like,
that's crazy.
I know, but we're not peeling back the layers on it, but when you peel back the layers, that's the truth. He's being touched inappropriately. It's sexual harassment, man on man.
Right.
But because it's been the thing you guys have been doing all these years, it's not frowned upon, it's not reported, it's no big deal, but something's wrong with that. There's a problem in the NYPD with this touching. Yeah, it's a problem.
You're speaking a lot of truth.
Yeah, it's a problem.
A lot of truth.
Yeah.
So you came to a point in your career where you had to use all of that was instilled in you.
Mm-hmm.
Your courage, what the Nation of Islam did for you, and your upbringing to stand for your rights. How did that look? How did that come about?
Well, it was hard because you lose a lot. When you start to be that person of courage, that person of the no, I'm not, going to the patrol guide, looking at what they can and can't do to you, what's right and what's wrong, you become a problem. That causes you to lose a lot. You lose friends, you lose cops, you lose family, you lose a lot because...
Even family.
Yeah. You lose.
Was it the embarrassment?
Yeah. So that's a road you have to be prepared for. You can't just wake up one day and say, I'm not taking no more SHIT no more. You can't just, especially if you've been letting it go on for so long, you got to be ready for all the repercussions that come after you saying no more. And a lot of people are not ready for that because it's different. It's different level. It's different level. Yeah.
Wow. I almost feel like to have that level of courage, because I do know a few people that have stood up for yourself. Like I said, I know the person that was a victim in regards to the incident that you just spoke on with the whole, personally. And she's always been strong-willed, targeted, try to groom, reject everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody gets their heads cut off. And I know for her, it was just like, enough is a freak enough. Enough is enough. But I think the reason why she was able to do that is from the jump, just like you.
Yeah.
She walked in and had that, I'm not dealing with this. She kind of had a heads up. And I think that's the key, is having a heads up. You did EMS. You were a cadet. You saw the nonsense before you became a police officer.
Yeah.
Probably saw it even as a cadet.
Yeah.
So I think it's really essential for any woman that listens to this to know, have a heads up in how you have to carry yourself and what comes along with fighting back.
Yeah. If you can stop it at the door and know what is going to happen, you're better off than letting it happen and then trying to stop it, right?
Yep.
Because once you let it start, they don't understand no more.
Yeah.
Once you start, no more is hard, which is why most women, like I said, it gets worse or they fall victim and they just let it be what it is. They get transferred out, maybe go somewhere new. But again, you get transferred out, you go somewhere new, they've already called and told what type of person you are.
100%.
So my suggestion would be to any woman, and it's crazy because you don't have to be just a beautiful, nice body woman. Like all women across the board get harassed on the job.
100%.
It don't have nothing to do with how you look. Don't think just because you're pretty, it's only happening to you.
Right.
But my suggestion would be is know what you want walking in the door and then go from there. I knew what I wanted coming in the door. Didn't come on the job looking for a husband, didn't come looking for a boyfriend. I had one goal in mind, and that was to take care of my kid. That was the medical benefits. That was the pension, looking long-term. Like I told you, my mother was sick since I was a kid, and I knew she wasn't going to be around forever. At some point, that train was going to stop. Right. So I came in with a purpose of, I need to be on this job so that I can secure my future. And yes, you get diverted. There are diversions and the devil steps in the way, and you know what I mean? But you got to go back to that track as to what are you here for? And if you can step in the door of any command and know your purpose, then it's hard to shake you. I knew my purpose.
Yeah.
But if you come in there and you don't know what your purpose is and you just took the job because it was money and, it's good money, yeah, they're going to get you. It's like vultures. They're going to get you.
100%. There's no, that's the best. Listen, from the point where recruits would come in just to pick out their lockers.
Yeah. But you see what I'm saying? From the time you walk in the door, this is the conversation that's happened from the time you walk in the door and you come into the command. It starts there and it takes off from there.
Yeah.
And it's all in your control. What women fail to realize is you control your destiny of what you want to do. A man doesn't pick you, you pick a man, right? So you already know what you want to do. And if you keep control of that destiny, they can't stray from you. But once you let one little door open, like I said, it's if you ever see vultures eat something, they just pick and pick and pick and pick till there's nothing left and you have had nothing else to give. And then they turn around and say, oh, she's crazy.
Yeah.
And then they get together on the crazy.
She's an EDP.
Yeah, she's an EDP. And then they get together on the EDP-ness and they all concur with each other. Oh, yeah, she crazy. I know. Yeah. Now you're stuck at the psych services trying to figure out how you got there.
Or because of depression and because of the fake rhetoric, now you do have a problem.
Yes. You either have a problem, with some type of help, drugs, alcohol, or you just mentally can't deal.
Yeah.
They find a way to trap you in that command. You can't get out because you are EDP'd. And you see, like it just becomes a bad cycle.
Yeah.
So I tell anybody, know your purpose when you walk in the door. Great job to have if you know your purpose and you stick to it. Yes, we're not perfect. You're going to stray from that, but make it back to what the purpose is. And if your purpose is going in there to make money, take care of your family, then try to stick to that. When you start going in there and you start thinking, I'm going to date this guy, I'm going to be with this sergeant, and it looks good, right? It looks good from the outside because who wants to be on patrol? Who wants to be writing summonses for their quota for the month? I want to be the sergeant op driver. I want to, be the ADO. I want to go upstairs. I want to do ComStat. I want to do that stuff, right? But it all comes with a price. And until you set your price, they're going to set the price for you.
Wow. That's powerful, Simone.
Yeah.
Very powerful.
You'll set your price.
So I was going to ask you, and you kind of answered it. What do you think about females dating other cops?
I don't see anything wrong with it. I mean, the command that I came from, a lot of people, got married and had kids, and it turned out to be really great for them. I personally think it's a mistake to kind of sleep where you eat or whatever. I think it's not a good idea for two cops to date in the same command.
Okay.
What I saw was a lot of things that were being said about the spouse that would get back to the other spouse.
Yeah.
And then it would cause a lot of strife.
Friction.
Yeah. So that's why I say if you can avoid being in the same command, try to, because it usually doesn't end good. But there are a few that have really flourished and they have kids together and they've, gone on with their life. So I guess, I don't see anything wrong with it. Again, as long as you stay in your purpose.
Got you. Let's get into the point where you said enough was enough and you really had to put the heat on some people.
All right. So get to the 113, everything's good. My first couple of years, did patrol. After a while, I got tired of being on patrol. As I got time on, I was able to, put in for some assignments, ask questions, and kind of move around. I did my 5 years on patrol. And I was on patrol. Like, if you know South J, I was answering homicides, gunshots, shots fired, 34s, homicides, suicides. Like, I've seen a plethora of things.
Sure.
Yeah. So I'm like, all right, you know what? With my mom being sick, I really need to scale back. I really need to get something more stable. So I wound up going into the traffic unit. I had someone at the 113 who understood my situation, who was really cool with me, was a supervisor. And he was the kind of the person that kind of had my back on certain things because, again, I was known as to say what I had to say, feel how I want to feel, et cetera, et cetera. So I wasn't well accepted by a lot of bosses, especially females. Again, because I came on the job and I already knew there was nothing you could tell me that about what I already knew. I already knew. I wasn't, one of these college kids that came out of college and then took the job because that was their life story and then came on without any narrative or not knowing anything. Because for the most part, let's keep it real. A lot of cops in the 113, they come out of college and they take the test and they go right on and their father's a hook.
Yep. Yep.
That's the classic story.
Yeah.
I wasn't that classic story. I grew up in Queens Village. I grew up in Shadyville. I grew up learning the streets as an EMT at a young age, seeing things. So when I already walked in, I walked in with this confidence and that wasn't well accepted. So going forward, I had this supervisor who would look out for me. He understood my situation with my mom. He gave me an opportunity to go to the traffic unit. Traffic unit was 6 to 2, Monday through Friday, weekends off.
Yeah.
It was great. Down the road, I had this particular sergeant that gave me a hard time in the traffic unit. I mean, a hard time. She gave me a hard time about everything. Again, I had a lot of mouth, but I was very smart. So going to the traffic unit, I was able to pick up traffic stat, pick up com stat, learn the numbers, put the book together for the captain. I mean, like what a lot of people fail to realize is when they go to these stats, the captains and stuff are not making those books. Who's making those books?
Yeah.
It's cops.
Yeah.
We're putting those books together, even down to the speech. We're telling them what to say.
Mm.
So when you go to traffic, you have to analyze the traffic issues you have in your command. You have to give the well, it's usually the XO that does traffic.
Yep.
And you have to give them a synopsis of what's going on in their command and how can they fix what's wrong in the command and what have they done great in that command.
Right.
Of course, the only person who knows that is me because I'm the one that's putting the numbers in every day. Of course, with my partners, we know. But what I'm saying is the traffic team, we know what's going on in the command.
So you were doing the summons intake.
Yep.
And you were counting up.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. I did. Yep. I came in at 6, took the summonses out the box, put them in the system, see what's going on, what intersections have what, look at the 53s. Me and my partner, we tell the summons guys, hey, this is what you need to hit this weekend. This is where you need to go. That's the thing. So I love traffic outside of that supervisor. Supervisor gave me a very hard time. And that was kind of my start of being like, okay, I need to dot my I's. I need to cross my T's because I'm not liked. Now they're finding out I'm smart. I'm not liked. So I got a mouth and I'm smart. It's 2 strikes against me. I gotta watch myself. I start documenting in my memo book, documenting everything, what time I'm coming in, making sure they sign me in the command log. I'm starting to see what's happening to me, what's going on around me. However, the person that had my back, he kind of gave the pushback to them, like, no, leave her alone. She's doing what she's supposed to do. Calm down. It was to the point where I would put in a day and that supervisor would go find the 28 to make sure that I put in a day and who signed my 28.
Really?
This is my time. If a supervisor signed the 28, what is it to you? You want to see me fall. So that was the kind of things that was being done to me around the time that my mom was kind of going terminal to the end of her illness. And I really just needed a place to sit until my mom was, figured out.
Right.
But there was no compassion in that area. Everybody, well, at least that supervisor who was in charge of the unit at that time, didn't care. She found a way to make my life miserable up there. So long story short, at the time, I had an injury. I go restricted. The supervisor that did have my back, he retires. He leaves. My shield is gone. It was open field day on me. Next thing I know, and excuse me, the XO that was there, he got promoted and he left.
Wow.
So I worked directly for the XO. Field day. Complete field day. I got transferred from upstairs because I was restricted. I couldn't produce any summonses anymore. I couldn't do the details that came down with the motorcycle detail and the what's those ATV details, like all the little details I couldn't do anymore because I was restricted. So there was no need for me anymore. So I got booted from upstairs, downstairs, back on the main floor. So because I was restricted, most people know the main floor consisted of TS. That became my spot. And it became open field day on me. I wound up getting pregnant with my son and rocked it through. Knew what it was. I'm on the TS. At least I know what I'm doing every day, but I still have our RDOs. Everybody knew I was kind of dealing with, my mom. One particular supervisor, after the XO got promoted,
Mhm.
came in and said I was not to have a Saturday, Sunday RDO. And who did I think I was to have a Saturday, Sunday RDO? Okay. So he came in and he changed my days off. Something wild, like Tuesday, Wednesday, or whatever, something crazy. Again, nobody's coming to me and saying, asking any questions or even caring about what I have going on. They just doing what they do best. All right, I took that on the chin. Took the Tuesday, Wednesday RDO. Had my son go out on maternity leave, come back. Oh, when I come back, it's a storm. I'm still restricted because I went restricted initially for an injury that I had, then found out that I was pregnant with child. So the restriction continued through my pregnancy. And then once I was finished having the baby, I came back. I was restricted for my injury. Field day. Now, everybody's gone. This captain is still there. And it's open field day on me. They start watching what time I'm coming in, what I'm doing when I come in. They start watching what time I sign off on the TS. Did I answer calls? Did I go on the 311 system? Did I assign calls to the 311 system? It just becomes a real look down on me. I come back, I let them know, listen, my son, he's completely breastfed. I need my time to come off the TS to pump my milk for my son. Okay. First couple of times, no problem. All right. I go to the desk, let them know, hey, I need a break. I need to go, pump, express, whatever. Okay. No relief comes. Okay. After a few times, and this is not just one instance, this is over the course of like weeks and months of just not getting a break when they felt like there was somebody to relieve me. And I'm saying, listen, this is the law. Like, you have to let me express my milk. Like, you can't give me a break when you want to give me a break. The body doesn't work that way. Like, I'm telling you not to get a break because I need a break.
Yeah, health issue.
All right, well, we'll do better giving you breaks. Okay. So it started being, they wanted to count how many breaks I had, and they were going to put it in the command log every time I went for a break. Now, these are just rules that the precinct is coming up with. These are not written rules. They're just coming up with these rules because they don't like me for whatever reason, and they think that I'm downstairs in the locker room playing, and I'm not doing what I'm saying I'm going downstairs to do. So they start making me sign in the command log when I go down for a break, and they start counting how long I'm downstairs for. And then when I come up, what time I'm finished in the command log. Like, why are you putting me in the command log? If I'm logging my break into the TS book, into the TS roll log book, why are you putting me in the command log? Like, you're literally trying to hurt me on purpose.
Right.
So this was the icing on the cake. Mind you, this is months later. Probably about 6-7 months later after dealing with this. And I go downstairs to take a break, and it was this particular sergeant who really didn't like me, who was friends with the sergeant from the traffic unit. And she has an attitude. I come to the TS, I say, hey, listen, I need to take a break. She says, okay. No, I'm lying. Sorry. It was a different sergeant on the desk, told the sergeant I need to take a break. Apparently the sergeant didn't put me in the command log. I go downstairs, do what I have to do, come back upstairs, and the sergeant says, well, where were you? I said, well, I told Sergeant so-and-so I was going downstairs for a break or whatever. So she says, well, you're not in the command log. So that tells me you never asked the sergeant for a break. I said, I absolutely did ask the sergeant for a break. I said, I don't leave the TS without asking for a break. If I didn't ask the sergeant for a break, then how is the TS manned? Someone's here.
Right.
So did they just walk up and do it? Or, what are you
Right.
saying? So she's like, well, if it's not in the command log, you didn't take a break. You didn't get an authorized break. So I said to her, I said, well, honestly, Sergeant, I don't have to take an authorized break. I'm required by law to be able to take a break to express my milk. I don't have to ask for a break. I let you know I'm taking a break and you're supposed to provide me with relief. Oh, she didn't like that. She didn't like that. So I said, as a matter of fact, because I told you I was dotting my I's and crossing my T's. So even though I asked for a break, I was putting the times I was leaving the TS in my memo book. So even though that sergeant failed to put me in, whether she did it on purpose or not, I don't know, but she didn't put me in. My break was documented in my memo book. So I said I took my break at whatever time right here is in my memo book. So she says, okay, no problem. I knew it was going to be a problem. So I sat down, and the way 113 is set up, the TS is facing outside, but the desk is behind you. And, I could kind of feel the tension behind me, and I just knew I just knew it was going to be bad. You know, I just knew, especially proving her wrong in front of everybody and telling her what the law was. I knew it was going to be bad. The next day when I walked in, they came for me like, I got pulled to the ICO's office and they've got all that. I mean, this is for a woman asking to just take a break to express milk. You know, I didn't kill anybody. I'm just asking to do what I'm legally able to do.
Right.
But they put me in the ICO's office, and then the ICO sergeant, she's like, what you're gonna do from now on, you're gonna do this and that and that and that, and you're not gonna take a break. And now you're gonna wear a body worn camera at all times. And like they're just locking out all this stuff. And then I'm saying, this is it. I'm not doing this no more. I'm not doing this anymore. And I accepted. I listened, you know, I listened. I said, okay. Later that day, I called an attorney. The first attorney that I called told me they were too afraid to take my case. They told me, we can't understand why they're not allowing you to do what you need to do. I said, well, this is the NYPD, you know. No, we're not going to take that case. I said, okay. So I knew that my lawyer worked in the 113. He was retired. He knew the ins and outs of, you know, the patrol guard. I mean, he's very well versed. And I called him. And we had been talking previously before about what was happening, but, you know, we held off hoping that they would get the point and things would stop.
Wait, so you said you're a lawyer. This is, you called one lawyer, they said they wouldn't take the case.
Yes.
So then how did you come to this new lawyer?
The new lawyer is very well known. It's Eric Saunders.
Okay.
Yeah, he's very well known on with NYPD.
So what, you called him next?
I called him next.
Got you.
Now, me and him had been talking here and there a little bit about what was happening, but we never acted on anything. I just kind of waited to see if things were going to get better. And I had even complained to another lieutenant, and he wound up having a conversation with them saying, you know, now these three sergeants coming together, these three female sergeants coming together. And he had a conversation with them and he said, you know, just leave her alone. Like, just let her do what she has to do, you know, just leave her alone. And they didn't listen. They wanted to go all out. So I said, you know what? I've had enough. I'm going to call Eric and we're going to go forward. And that's how the case wind up getting started. So it was a buildup. It wasn't something that I just got up one day and said, yeah, I'm going to do this. You know, I personally hoped that it would have gotten better. You know, I hoped that they would hear me and just leave me alone until it was time for me to wean my son off. Like that was not my plan. I didn't want that to happen.
Right.
But at the same time, it was either me or them, because the way they were stacking the odds against me as a human, I was bound to make a mistake.
Sure.
So I had to act first. And that's how we got where we got.
So not only was there an issue with the timing and them providing you a break, what about the facility?
So I was pumping in the locker room, and I was pumping. Okay, so the locker room is set up, and there's a back room where, you know, most people sleep or whatever. And, you know, that's where I would go pump because it would be more privacy. However, I mean, cops come off patrol. They want to take their vest off. They want to take a break. They come back there. They open the door. They come right in. The room was never regularly cleaned unless it was cleaned by the female officers. No one went in the female's locker room. You know, that's like an absolute not.
Mm-hmm.
So the janitors that did work there never went in there. It was up to us to keep it clean. And that was what the room looked like. You know, that was where I was pumping. And again, I didn't have such a problem pumping there. I just wanted to be left in peace. But once they let the bear out, it was like, okay, well, let's really talk about what's going on in here. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I would go down to the locker room, and like I said, the door would get opened up on me, and I'd be there, and cops would come in and do what they do, and no hate towards them, but it was uncomfortable.
Sure.
You know, and then if it really got bad, I would go to the bathroom and close the door and lock the door for 20 minutes and do what I have to do. But again, that was short-lived because cops got to use the bathroom.
Right.
So I kind of just took it on the chin, you know, but I found it to be so disrespectful for women to treat women like that. Mind you, what's untold is that most cops dry up their milk before they go back to work because they know they're not going to get the breaks that they need.
Wow.
But I thought it was crazy because I'm like, when the cops go back there and they smoke, or when you got this cop that did all this overtime who's sleeping on the job while he's making money, that's okay. But me as a woman, I'm asking you to do something that to get a break for something that my body naturally does. And you're telling me no.
Mm. Unreal.
Crazy.
We talked about the men with the females. What's the common theme when it comes down to females and females, like females versus other female police officers?
Yeah.
It's
catty.
It's very catty.
It's bad. It's bad.
Mm.
I will say that once I got time on, it became better. It's like when you get time on, things open up for you.
Yeah.
That first 5 years is hard. And yes, the cattiness continues on, but most of us that had time on had a common understanding against us as females. Yes, you still got things here and there. There were little issues here and there. But for the most part, once I got time on, a lot of that female cattiness kind of died down. Because the females know you're here to stay. I'm just here to do a job. I'm doing what I'm doing and I'm going home. You do still have some issues, but it's not as bad when you get a little bit of time on. But the females are definitely sizing you up when you come there too.
Yeah.
You're getting it from both ends.
That's crazy. Now, once you started that process with the attorney, how were you affected at work?
Oh.
How were you treated at work?
So when I started with the attorney, we had to do a lot of background stuff, paperwork, conversations, evidence. Like we put a lot of stuff together first. So before my lawsuit even hit, it's a lot of background stuff. Once we got everything together and I had everything and, the case was strong, he told me, he said, okay, it's going to air on XYZ day. Mind you, by that point, I'm still dealing with what I'm dealing with at the precinct. That captain decided he was going to transfer me out.
You were a troublemaker.
Yeah. So, so he transferred me. So
on what grounds?
I was restricted. Matter of fact, I was restricted. That was the reason he gave that he transferred me. But come to find out later on that he said he don't really know why he transferred me. He just did it.
Mm.
So I got transferred. Okay. I got transferred to Narcotics, Queens North. My new shift was 5:30 start. I got a baby that I just had. I'm taking my son out at 3 a.m. to the babysitter so that I could make it to Narcotics and sign in a book at 5:30 in the morning. So I got transferred and I had to take that on the chin. So he transferred me. I went to Narcotics, 5:30 to whatever time. And that was my new command for a while. And I have to say that they treated me with the utmost respect. Even if they were uncomfortable with what I had going on, I never heard anything. I never saw anything. I actually walked out of there with some good friends. And
that's great.
And Michael, the one you interviewed, Steve. Me and Steve met at Narcotics.
The duo.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, we met at Narcotics. And he used to give me his parking space because parking was real bad up there, but that's how we met. So
he's a good man.
Yeah, he was going through what he was going through with his situation from, his shooting and stuff. Yeah. And
that's crazy how there's so much. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Man, Steve is like that's two people so far that.
Yeah. And Steve, we didn't know each other from a can of paint. But, like I said, everybody treated me no different there because of what I had going on. So my case actually aired when I was at Narcotics and it hit the morning news. So the lawsuit went in that night and it hit the morning news the next day.
Oof.
And I was in Narcotics sitting at the desk looking at the TV and it was coming across the TV and my stomach just dropped. I wanted to run out and scream, because I knew this is it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I knew that I had tried everything. I called OEO. I called the Guardians Association. I called so many places trying to get help and I never got any help.
Really?
I called IAB. I called on bosses that were harassing me. Like, look, this is harassment, what they're doing to me. I never got any help.
So OEO, they sound all big and bad, right? Is it only when it comes down to issues involving sexuality and
It wasn't involved. They didn't care about my issue. I made plenty of complaints and never got, I'm telling you, people probably looked at my case and thought that's something that happened overnight. That was a buildup of at least a year of stuff that I had taken on to the point where it had become enough. But that was a buildup. I called, I made complaints, I did IAB logs, I did everything to try to get help, and it never went anywhere. No one ever called me back. No one ever said anything. You know, I had a detective tell me at OEO, yeah, they're supposed to let you go take breaks. I said, but they're not letting me take breaks. She said, okay, well, tell them I told you you're supposed to be able to take breaks. Okay, girl. Like, oh, okay, girl, we'll see how far that goes, right? It went nowhere. So yes, it was a buildup. So when the case came out, I was in narco that morning and they treated me really well. They did not make me feel uncomfortable. Even if they felt uncomfortable, they never made me feel uncomfortable, which was noble because the way the department came after me, after my case leaked, it was insane. I would come in and OEO would be at Narcotics' door waiting on me.
Why?
See what I'm doing. What's
OEO?
Yes.
Why OEO though? They're the ones that's supposed to be helping you.
They were waiting for me at the door. Many days.
So they went from not helping you in your circumstance to but I just don't understand why OEO out of all units. Like I can see IAB.
Because I'm claiming that I'm not being treated as an equal employee.
Got you.
So they step in and they are supposed to be making the job treat you like an equal employee. However, that doesn't include harassment. Why are you here at this people's command looking for me? And I'm telling you, it would just pop up on me at any given time. They would just come to Narcotics.
So, and it went from these are the people that are supposed to be protecting you with what it is that you're going through. And it wound up being, they are now inspecting.
Yes.
And they are now monitoring.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And I felt terrible because the detectives and the people that worked there, it was unfair for them to be subjected to that. I bought that there. I bought that to their command. And even though it's no fault of me or theirs, they still treated me good with respect. Yeah, they treated me with respect and no one verbally ever ridiculed me. I had nothing but support. But I'm telling you, I would come in and OEO and not one person, a group, 6, 7 of them would be at the command waiting for me.
And what did those conversations look like with them?
It got to a point where I started telling them I wasn't going to have conversations with them. They need to talk to my attorney because that's what I hired him for. So they would go and talk to the boss and I guess ask the boss questions about, what I was doing there. The boss never came and told me what they asked him, but they would be in the room having conversations with him. They would call up there. They would do all kinds of things.
Before you shut them down, what kind of questions were they asking you?
What's going on? How is things? What are you doing? When are you taking your pump breaks? What's happening here? What time did you start for the day? Just whatever. Are you comfortable? Because...
so now it's reactionary.
Yeah, because now I asked for help. You didn't give me help. So this lawsuit made you pay attention to me, right? I never walked away thinking, and we never settled on $5 million as I'm going to get $5 million. The $5 million was to cause attention to me, to make you pay attention to my issue. A lot of times when people file lawsuits, they put those astronomical numbers, not because they really believe they're going to get those numbers or not because they are looking for a handout. They're looking to bring attention to the case so that the department can pay attention to them. If I would have said I'm suing you for $20,000, would that have made the news?
No, absolutely not.
And then come to find out that not only was the police department non-compliant, the city was non-compliant. The Department of Corrections was non-compliant. ACS was non-compliant. HRA was non-compliant. The city was non-compliant with allowing women to take breaks to express their milk for their child. So it wasn't just the NYPD, it was the whole city. But now if you go into the airport or you go into an HRA building or you go into an ACS building, what's inside of there? A mama. Yeah.
Wow.
But that was the fight that I had to put together. to get that. You go into 1PP, there's a pod. I had women secretly emailing me. That's how scared women are on the job. When the lawsuit came out, they emailed me anonymous. Thank you so much for what you've done because I was suffering here. Of course, the NYPD has, demolished my email, so I don't have access to that stuff. But yeah, I had a list of women in one police plaza that were experiencing the same thing.
What happened to those women that were causing the havoc for you?
One has a lawsuit of her own. One of them, I believe she retired. And the other one, I don't know where she is now.
She has a lawsuit not related to
No.
your circumstance, but she just has her own
Yeah.
because she went through something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crazy how that works.
Yeah. She actually, from what I had heard, wanted to contact me, but nah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, you never know when you're gonna be in someone else's shoes, right? But
That's
the
right.
women on the job are so evil to each other sometimes, We all have the same cause, but we're so evil to one another that it's just disgusting.
Why do you think that is? I mean, that
Jealousy.
Mhm.
She can't be better than me. I'm the boss or I'm the cop and I want to have that one up. Everybody wants to have that one up on each other when we're all here for the same reason.
Yeah.
So it's like, I don't know why women are so evil to each other on the job, but it's really a evil culture amongst the women. I'm being very honest.
Was it a class action lawsuit? Were there other people that joined in with you?
So, yes, which helped me tremendously because I was scared to death. I was like fighting the battle by myself. And then a couple of women came forward. One, Teresa, she came forward first. And me and her still speak, now to this day. And she came forward and then 3 other women did. But what wound up happening at the end, we couldn't keep it a class action because one of the girls dropped out and that made us not qualify because we didn't have the minimum amount of females
To
needed.
5 people.
Yeah, so we only had 4 toward the end when we started gearing up and we had to close the class action, which is terrible because that would have helped all the women on the job.
So what would be advantageous with it being a class action lawsuit as opposed to
So
individually?
when the class action was demolished, that affected women on the job who would have been having children or have had children during that time. They would have been compensated.
Oh, okay.
So when they said no class action because you don't have 5 females, we, the 4 girls, got compensated.
Gotcha.
But if we would have had the class action, that would have helped everyone who had children from this time to that time
Wow.
that the NYPD was in noncompliance. But women were so scared to step up and there were people who called and had complaints, but no one had the gall to step up and say, this is what's happening to me. So we could have replaced the female that is initially left, but no one would take that rodeo. No one would do it.
Unreal.
Because it was truly testing.
Could only imagine.
And that's some of the reason why I leaned on my faith, because I felt alone.
Isolated.
Alone.
Good.
And you have this organization which is bigger than anything else coming for you, because that was what was hot at the time with my lawsuit. It was a big deal. And like I said, they weren't in compliance. They were not doing what they were supposed to do. So they had to rectify that. And they would just batter me, call me, send me emails. It got to a point, my son is 8, gonna be 9. I just updated my Facebook picture because they would go on my Facebook and look through my Facebook friends, look through my Facebook pictures, zoom in, take pictures as evidence. They would go to my friends. If I was on a friend page, they would take pictures of those friends I was with and put that into evidence for the courts. I could not get on my Facebook page. I didn't post. I didn't do anything. I had to go under a name on my Instagram. I mean, now you know who I am, but that wasn't the name I used initially to protect everybody.
Right.
My kids, everybody, because this is how these people came for me. And I didn't want my family or any of my friends to experience that backlash. So I walked off the job, and a lot of people, I had to disconnect with. And I have some people who are angry with me. Like, she just cut me off. She don't talk to me no more, and thinking that I was just being, it was for the benefit of a lot of people because I didn't want people to experience what I was experiencing on the job because you knew me.
Wow.
So I walked away from a lot of friends, deleted a lot of friends, deleted a lot of phone numbers.
To save them.
To save them. But a lot of them think that, you know, it was based off of me being bougie or being cute or she got an attitude problem or whatever. But I really left a lot of people behind because I protected them from being jumped by the job. And I hate to say that, but that was initially, that's what I was experiencing. Yeah.
How much time on did you have at the start of your lawsuit?
So at the time I had 12 years on. At the time of my lawsuit, I had 12 years on. Yeah.
Okay. And what wound up happening throughout the rest of your career?
So I had 12 years on. Lawsuit comes out, boom, narcotics. I stayed in narcotics for a while. They tried to work on getting me back to work because I had the restriction because of the injury that I had. So the job on the other end of that situation were trying to get me back, trying to get me to qualify, stuff like that. It didn't work. It didn't work. My injury was still significant. So as time went on, I wound up putting in the papers. I wound up getting 3/4 in 2019. So November 2019, I got 3/4 for my injury. And the crazy thing was I never told anybody I was going up for the board. I never told anybody. Like, I really shut down and really closed in because sometimes you tell people things and
it's even more hate.
They don't wish you well.
Yeah.
They hate on the positive things that you say to them. They hate it. So when my 3/4 came down, most of the command probably found out from the finest message because I never told anybody.
What was the injury?
So I had broke a bone, 2 bones in my hand in 2012. And what wound up happening is I had 2 surgeries on my hand and my hand never really recovered.
How did you break in?
So I went to this job with this EDP, me and this other cop. He just retired. And we were kind of tussling with the guy. He was trying to run up the stairs and we were tussling with him. And when he threw his arm back, my hand hit the wall and it broke 2 bones in my hand. Yeah.
So that's not funny. What's funny is how deep you're taking the NYPD.
Yeah.
The lawsuit.
Yeah.
And then 3/4.
Yeah. Yeah. And the 3/4 I had started before the lawsuit, but it was just because I had got pregnant with my son at the time. They couldn't address that with me being pregnant. It had to be one or the other. So we had to, let me have the baby and then move on. But yes, and when I tell you, I told no one. I just didn't show up the next day. And then the finest message came out and people were going crazy. Like, oh my God, you got 3/4. Because I didn't tell people anything about me because people really ill wish you.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Wow. People really. So 2019, right as the cusp of COVID was happening, I was out. I was out the door.
See, there's a reason why at the beginning of each session, I asked about background.
Mm-hmm.
Because it really shapes up the end of the session in understanding people's story.
Mm-hmm.
Your resilience is all God.
Yeah. Yeah.
You fought. You went through things that most people would not.
Yeah.
And I don't want to just talk about finances here.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You got 3/4. You got the reward from the lawsuit. But as a result of that, you now have the freedom, I'm sure, to do many of the things that God may need you to do for your family.
Yeah.
And outside of that.
Yeah.
That's why I believe faith is so important. Because so many of us, we try to find that courage within ourselves.
Yeah.
We can't find it without God.
No. That was a whole nother level of courage. I'm not talking about getting on a Six Flags ride, right? Courage to get on that. I'm talking about the courage to show up every day knowing that these people want to discredit you. They wanted to discredit me, but they couldn't because what I fought for was valid. You cannot tell me you guys were in compliance. And I essentially, through that courage, and the only reason why I had the courage I had because I woke up every day and I knew that God would see me through. I knew that I was going to be rewarded because I wasn't fighting for myself. I was fighting for every woman on this department. All of these guys that have these negative things to say, they say, oh, women shouldn't be on the job. Yeah, but you got a wife at home. And I made it so that your daughter, if she decides to step into your shoes, can get on this job and be able to express milk for her kid.
Mm.
This job created a patrol guide procedure off of my lawsuit. I have a patrol guide procedure page.
That's amazing.
I have forced this job to spend thousands of dollars to put in equipment in every facility to make sure women can pump milk. That's amazing. I didn't do that myself.
Mm.
God propelled me through that.
That's right. That's
because if I fell in the beginning, I wouldn't have got that far. But I kept going. And he's the only reason why I kept going, because I'm telling you, the way they were coming for me, it's no easy trip. And if you know anybody who's spoke out against the department or have exposed them in a negative way, they will tell you what the department does to you. They do you.
Mm-hmm.
Even down to, like I said, the lawsuit. I had no idea they were on my personal social media, taking information from there and putting it in the court's paperwork. I had no idea that they were taking the friends that I was friends with and putting them in court documents. You know none of this until you start to look at the transcripts, that they're building a case on you. And I was like, I have to let go of my friends because I don't want them to be wrapped up in, because this is not for the weak.
Wow. What was not your individual award, but for the four of you collectively, what was the award?
So they first brought us to the table and they gave us something crazy and we were like, nah, we're not gonna do that. But as much as we wanted to, we didn't. And then we got another offer on the table and it was pennies. So we counter offered and they didn't accept it. And I think that they just tried to wear time out, because it shouldn't have went on for 8 years. We just got
It went on.
Yeah,
for 8
we
years.
just settled the lawsuit last year. And collectively, I want to say we probably did about maybe 400,000 collectively between us. But again, you have lawyer fees, you have business that you have to handle, take care of. But yes, we got a fraction of what we were supposed to get. And it is what it is. A lot of people walk away, they get nothing.
Yeah.
But we got something that's even better than that, which is 1, we proved they were wrong. 2, we made them spend thousands of dollars to put the proper equipment in for women. And 3, we've changed the whole patrol guide procedure. So that's worth more than any amount, they could ever give me.
Right.
So we're good.
That's amazing.
Yeah, we're good.
You're a brave soul. You truly are.
I'm telling you, it was rough, man. There was so many nights I cried because I was by myself, and you wouldn't believe how many people shy away. People shy away from stuff. Like, they don't want to. She's a troublemaker. She got a lawsuit. I'm getting away from that. You know what I'm saying? And on Facebook, there were people who know me that were like, nah, T's not, as they call me, T or Teagle. And they're like, T is not that kind of person. Like, if you know her, she's real 100, down to earth. I was one of the cops on patrols, the females. You could depend on me. It was times where guys would be like, nah, I'll take T on patrol, because if you was fighting, we was fighting.
Yeah, and that's
know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what we were trying to put out there, me and Ellie.
Yeah, there's a lot of girls that clam up. You see the videos.
Yeah.
They don't be bothered with putting their hands on perps. They don't want to get dirty. But, I was that girl. I was out there.
Yeah.
I was out there searching perps. I was out there on patrol. I was going to the jobs. I was doing the DOAs, going to the hospital and doing the reports and kicking in doors. And I was that girl, you know. And I only made it out of my career with 1 CCRB, man.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
But yeah, I was out there. Yeah.
How are you spending retirement now?
Retirement is good. I tell everybody, the first year of retirement, you have to detox. You have to take a year to just settle, whether that be depending on how much stuff you've seen, whether that's therapy, whether that's, catching up on your doctor's appointments, making sure you're healthy. That first year has to be the department detox, right?
Faith is big too.
Your church too. If you're going to pick up a faith, do something. Start looking into yourself, because I'm being honest with you. As a cop, we have a lot of ways within ourselves. We can be nasty, we can be mean, we can be disgruntled, we can be very careless, not caring about how people feel.
Yeah.
We have an attitude that we carry even though we don't realize it.
Right.
You come home, you do that to your family. You're screaming on your family because your stress is here. You don't say nice things to people, and it's not your fault. It's the environment that we're in. You, after seeing a homicide, suicide, you coming home and trying to eat dinner. Come on, that's not realistic.
Right.
So that detox is whatever it takes for you to get back to you that first year. So the first year, I took time getting back to me and who I was and doctor's appointments and, kind of just getting my house together and figuring out what I wanted to do. So I went back to school, did that, and then wound up moving to Georgia shortly after COVID had started because I just couldn't take any more, stuff here with the COVID. And I wanted to become a school teacher.
You're a school teacher now?
Yeah.
Really? What grade?
7th.
7th grade.
7th grade. Yeah. I've been doing it now for about 3 years.
Okay.
And people always ask me, what would you rather do, cop or school teacher? Cop.
Why is that?
Kids are crazy, man.
They are.
My kids, they keep me going, but some of the stuff they say is crazy. And I don't know, because the kids have computers now. They do everything on computer. They don't use books anymore, really. And they come to me and they're like, Miss T, I saw you on, and they call me Miss T too. Hey, Miss T, I saw you on Google. The kids Google the teachers. And I have to tell them, all right, don't do too much. Mind your business. It has nothing to do with you. But the point that I'm making is that, I wanted to protect my family from that for a long time because the school that I work at, my kids went to that school. And I don't need kids at the school saying, this, that, and the third. So there's a lot of things that I did to try to protect everybody to be proactive against that situation. But the kids tell me, Miss T, I saw you on Google. But
that's crazy.
Yeah. That's what I wound up doing. And, I don't know what I have in store for me next, but retirement it's beautiful. If you can push back that mindset and really reset, it's a second chance at life.
Yeah.
But the problem is a lot of cops don't look at it that way. They fall into depression. They start drinking, start abusing their body. They don't find a faith. They don't find something to believe in. And it takes over them. And those are the ones you see sometimes and they're dead like, a year later, 2 years later.
Yeah, right.
You have to refine your purpose and start your second life.
So with that being said, what does purpose over pension mean to you?
Sometimes your purpose, to me, has to put your pension to the side. I'm never mad at somebody who said, you know what, I had to leave after XYZ years. It wasn't for me. You picked your purpose over your pension. It happens. That job is not for everybody. Certain jobs are not for everybody. And I never judge a person that says, I left after 3 years because you know what, that wasn't for me. Pick your purpose over pension. Now, if you stay on the job, you still have to have a purpose, and that purpose should be picked over your pension. So if your purpose is going to be God, then you still have to have that purpose over your pension. You got to be willing to lose that pension for your purpose.
That's right.
So that's right. What it means to me. And, pension is good. Retirement is good. But if you do all of that and you got nothing to show at the end and you don't have a purpose in life and you don't have a goal, what was the point?
That's right.
What was the point?
That's right.
Yeah.
Simone, you crushed it.
Though I was so nervous.
You're going to change a lot of lives. I don't know if you have any businesses or anything like that you might want to shout out.
I'm chilling.
You're chilling?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I told you, I do what I want to do and I do what I don't, and I don't do what I don't want to do. The job has led me to that point where it's like, I'm no longer doing something that I don't want to do. For so many years, you deal with, you don't have no days off. You don't have vacation pays. You don't have no RDOs. And it's like, I worked for the man for a long time.
Yeah.
Now I do what I want to do. Maybe at some point I will do my own business, but for right now, I do what I do with the kids and that's it. I enjoy being home. My older daughter, I missed a lot of years of her life.
Yeah.
Being on a job. I miss birthdays.
Right.
I miss school plays. So now my other children, I try to pour that into them. I try to be mommy present,
100%.
But
if there's females that are on the job or that want to become police officers, is there any way that they could contact you or find you? I know you're very
Private.
If not, it's okay.
But
they
you
could contact me.
why?
Yeah, they could contact me and then
and then reach out to me and let me know. You know what I'm saying? One of my friends, she's still in the good fight of trying to help women who are having issues on the job still. It's not 100% perfect yet. You know, I just did maybe 30% or 50%. Someone's got to take the torch, you know, and if no one else fights for women's rights or rights on the job, it's all gonna go in vain, you know.
Right.
None of the organizations that were on the job reached out to me when I was going through that. No Women's Endowment Association, no Guardians, nobody reached out and said, hey, we're gonna back you in this fight.
Right.
Even we're 8 years later, still nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. And I used to be afraid to say that, like but I'm stepping into that. I made a change that's significant so that the next cop's daughter, granddaughter, sister, aunt, whoever steps in there, they at least have that. And no one ever backed me. But it was okay because my truth prevailed. Again, they weren't in compliance. The city itself wasn't in compliance. So I'm okay with that. And I'm good, man. Good.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
No, I thank you for having me and letting me share my story. This is the first time I'm sharing my story in 8 years.
Well, you crushed it, like I said. Thank you so much, Simone, for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me. It's been a pleasure. All right.